So somehow, despite not having posted a video in 5 months, holy crap! Anyway, somehow my subscriber count has managed to be steadily creeping up, and now I have 250. So you know what that means? Twinkies. It's the banana kind. 1976 was a banner year for Hostess Cakes. Their infamous comic book ads began in March and April of the previous year, but now they were stepping up their game. The schemingest villains, the craftiest heroes, the wascaliest wabbits. This was the beginning of the golden era for Golden Sponge Cake, and here, in bite-sized form, are the 1976 Hostess ads. 49 stories in however many minutes. This is the 1976 Hostess Speed Run. Richie Rich, no title. It's Richie Sr.'s birthday, but Dollar has eaten Chef Pierre's Baked Alaska. Luckily, the birthday feast will be saved by cheap convenience store impulse snacks. Spider-Man and the Kidnapped Caper. Aunt May has been kidnapped. Spider-Man trades her for a suitcase full of Twinkies. And the moral of this story is, crime pays. It just pays in mass-produced pastries. Bugs Bunny in Elmer's Love Life. I'm in love with Mary Jane, but she won't give me a tumble. Meanwhile, Fudd is in love with Spider-Man's girlfriend. He can't afford jewelry, but Bugs suggests pies. Face it, Elmer, you just hit the jackpot. Casper, no title. Casper, Wendy, and Oliver Owl, the best Harvey character, are having a picnic, but some ass of a troll stole their Twinkies. But it's a Harvey comic, so they decide to share instead of press charges. Shazam! The Cupcake Caper. Holy moly! Somebody just stole all the Hostess cupcakes in the world. Apparently that's about a pallet's worth. This is not a wacky supervillain, guys. I know we won't get the guy who turns people into chairs for a couple of years, but, I mean, couldn't we at least get Mr. Mind? Archie in Crossword Puzzlement. Archie needs help with a crossword puzzle, but can we talk about Archie's shirt for a moment? This is a very 1976 shirt, and I want it. And probably Jughead ate the Twinkies. Let's move on. The Roadrunner in Paul Revere's Run. The Coyote tries to capture the Roadrunner and his sons by convincing them to reenact Paul Revere's historic ride. They're distracted by an all-night Twinkie stand, and none of this seems very historically accurate. Spider-Man and the Cupcake Caper. Spidey doesn't seem to care that Captain Marvel already solved the Cupcake Caper like just the previous month. I don't care, though, because Man Mountain Marco. Not the Green Goblin, not Dr. Octopus, not even the Shocker. The first and only established Spider-Man villain to appear in a Hostess ad is Man Mountain Marco. Wait, is he the only? I should probably fact-check this before I commit it to the script. Richie Rich and Bascombe, no title. It is nice that they're giving Richie's chauffeur title billing in this strip. I mean, he's an easily forgotten member of Richie's supporting cast. Anyway, Richie solves a problem with money. Next, Casper, no title. Casper meets a ghost who's a bully, but he gives the jerk some pies and he becomes nice. A great lesson for the kids. On the other hand, I never met a ghost I didn't like. The ghostly trio, Batman and Twinkieless Gotham City. The Penguin has hypnotized all the delivery men into bringing the Twinkies directly to him. Penguin, release the Twinkies delivery men from your spell. Never! No one will get any Twinkies! Wah, 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 wah. And no one ever did. Josie and the Cupcakes. Completely forgetting that she already fronts a band, Josie decides to form a band. A woman I'm assuming is Mary Jane, having recently dumped Elmer Fudd, tries to seduce her way into the group, but Josie seduces her instead, with cupcakes. Also, her name is Brenda, not Mary Jane. I apologize to Elmer for assuming the worst. Archie in The Prize Disguise. Archie is judging a beauty contest, and the finalists are Betty, Veronica, and a third girl whom we're given to think is as important as Betty and Veronica. Today she'd be Cheryl Blossom, except it's almost a decade too early for Cheryl Blossom, so I'll assume this is Mary Jane, and Archie wimps out by giving them all fruit pies. Tweety and Sylvester in Flower Power. For some reason, Sylvester thinks dressing up as an old lady and selling flowers will do anything to help him catch Tweety. Sylvester is my favorite Looney Tune, but the more Gold Key comics I read, the more I wonder why. Bugs Bunny in Life is Just a Bowl of Cherries. And if you need proof that things didn't work out with Mary Jane, Elmer is trying to kill Bugs now. Unfortunately for Fudd, Bugs has given up carrots for fruit pies. And I bought an issue of Gold Key's Roadrunner to get this ad. Pity me. Spider-Man and the Twinkie Takers. Guy in Groucho Blasses or Gabe Kaplan from Welcome Back, Kotter. Either way, he's demanding at gunpoint that the stores bring the Twinkies out of storage. But Twinkies are never stored. They're always displayed fresh. Spider-Man says so. Actually, contrary to the rumor, Twinkies have a very short lifespan. I mean, they're baked goods, people. They're not going to survive the apocalypse. Daredevil's Dare Double. A master of disguise dresses like Daredevil to commit burglaries. But Matt Murdock has a plan. If you guessed it involves hiding fruit pies in his law office to entice the burglar to steal them, you're right. How did the burglar know that there were fruit pies in it? And moving on. Sad Sack, no title. Sad Sack has a dream where he's promoted, which has nothing to do with anything. Then he gives Sarge some Twinkies. This one is a little threadbare plot-wise. I mean, even for Hostess standards. Richie Rich, no title. The Harvey ones didn't get titles often, it seems. Anyway, it's 5 months after the earlier Richie ad about Rich Sr.'s birthday, and it's Rich Sr.'s birthday again. And Richie gets him fruit pies again. The Roadrunner in Phony Express. The little Roadrunners aren't in this one, and I'm so freaking happy I can't even stand it. Well, this horse ain't gonna make it, Roadrunner. It's up to you to carry the mail to Deadwood. Ooh, Roadrunner Deadwood crossover. This should be good. But no, it's just a setup for another attempt at Roadrunner's life by Wile-E. There's a Daffy Duck guest appearance, though. If there's one good thing Gold Key did with the Looney Tunes, it was making Roadrunner and Daffy best friends. If nothing else, Daffy throws some solid shade on the Coyote. Cracky in The Cupcake Connection. Have we talked about Cracky yet? I don't think we've talked about Cracky. Gold Key Comics at this point in time primarily dealt in licensed cartoon favorites like Disney, Tom and Jerry, Hanna-Barbera, and of course the Looney Tunes, who starred in the bulk of Gold Key's Hostess ads. But they tried a couple of times to create their own properties to limited success. They had a few superhero and adventure titles like Magnus Robot Fighter, Dr. Solar, Man of the Atom, and the Jungle Twins, but their bread and butter were their kid-friendly humor comics, to which end we were given characters like OG Whiz, a poor man's Richie Rich, Baby Snoots, Wacky Witch, and Cracky. Cracky is an eccentric parrot whose sidekick is Mr. Caws, a crow whose head consisted of a pair of eyes atop an oversized beak, and no actual head, but for whatever reason they decided this guy was their go-to, and let him invade the Hostess space usually reserved for Bugs Bunny and friends. So Cracky tries to invent a new baking method, it goes wrong, his crow friend gives him cupcakes, and I just gave you a whole lot of info dump for a plot that basically amounted to nothing, huh? I bought an issue of Gold Key's Tweety and Sylvester for this ad. Just keeps getting worse. Hot stuff in Frozen Forest. A villain named the Brain freezes all the magical creatures in Enchanted Forest, and hot stuff comes to the rescue. Casper and Wendy couldn't be bothered. Of course, Casper and Wendy wouldn't have cooked the bastard. The Joker in The Cornered Clown. Yes, in fact, this is a Joker story with no Batman to be seen. As it turns out, villains throwing fruit pies at cops as a distraction, not as effective. This strip establishes the recurring line that the Joker hates Hostess snacks, which of course proves he's crazy. Superman saves the Earth, a very Superman thing to do. Earth is a backward planet. It has never come up with anything good. I say destroy it. Yeah, I guess how Superman convinces him to stop. It's cupcakes this time. Archie in Hopping Mad. Archie has a date with Veronica. Reggie is a dick. That's 65% of the 1970s Archie plots. Tweety and Sylvester in A Tasty Trap. You know, I'm not even 100% sure what's going on in this one, but Sylvester eats a Twinkie. It's funny how the Looney Tunes and the Archie gang can eat the Twinkies, but the superheroes can't. Apparently, I think I mentioned this last time, but Marvel and DC had a strict policy about their heroes not endorsing the products in the ads for those products. Sylvester doesn't give a good gosh darn, though. Sylvester's eating a dang Twinkie. Casper in Witches Strike. The witches are on strike because there are too many ghosts in their castles. It's a problem that can be mediated with cupcakes, I guess, but I'm left to wonder if Civil War might have been a good story to tell in the Harvey Enchanted Forest. Okay, picture this. Richard Rich Sr. passes the Supernatural Registration Act, right? And Richie heads up a task force to track down the enchanted beings that don't comply. Now, Casper reluctantly signs up because Richie's his friend, but he's torn. Wendy and Spooky lead the resistance. The ghostly trio are banished to Richard Rich Sr.'s super prison. Whose side is Hot Stuff on? Stumbo just wants to be left alone. Why won't they leave Stumbo alone? Bought an issue of Harvey's Devil Kids starring Hot Stuff for this ad. Things starting to look up. Wendy and the Ugly Monster. See, the problem is this monster has 4 ugly faces, and if he makes the 4th ugly face, anyone who sees it will melt. See ugly face number 4? Are you melted yet? Yeah, well, Twinkies will fix that right up. Captain America and the Red Skull. Possibly the greatest Twinkies ad of all time. The Cosmic Cube can do anything, and the Red Skull uses it to do not much. But even though the most devious and twisted Nazi mind in comic history cannot be swayed by light golden sponge cake, the Cosmic Cube can. Among the most powerful artifacts in the universe, able to reshape reality at a whim, but by damn, it likes itself some creamy filling. The Incredible Hulk and Friends. So we've been seeing a few established villains in the Marvel ads, the well-known Red Skull, for instance, and the relatively obscure Man Mountain Marco. And now, here's one of the Toad Men, alien invaders from one of the very first Hulk comics. Side note, the Hulk was seemingly immune to the rule that superheroes couldn't eat the cakes in Hostess ads. He's seen eating cupcakes and fruit pies actually quite a bit. I wonder if he had to pay a fine. Josie in Special Date. Josie and Alexandra both want to date Alan M., a very common conflict in Josie comics. Josie is sweet, Alexandra's a bitch. Josie has fruit pies, Josie wins. The Incredible Hulk in The Green Frog. So another interesting side note, the last Tweety and Sylvester ad we talked about was also the last Looney Tunes Hostess ad, period. It wouldn't be the last Gold Key Hostess ad, however, as Gold Key would go on to use Marvel and Harvey characters in their comics to advertise Twinkies, fruit pies, and cupcakes. Several of the Marvel ads that are very famous are from Gold Key Comics originally, although some of them would be reproduced in Marvel titles later, and the same can be said for several of the Harvey ads. Gold Key would continue to produce Hostess ads as long as any of the other publishers, but they would not use characters that actually appeared in Gold Key Comics, except for one more cracky ad, ever again. This is the first of the Marvel Gold Key Hostess ads. A Godzilla-sized frog is trying to steal all the Twinkies. He's actually the Mad Magician in disguise, and also the Hulk is there. Richie Rich in Around the World. Richie Rich and Cadbury go around the world, but something seems missing no matter where he goes. Is it his friends Freckles, Pee-wee, and Gloria, with whom he's shared many great times and who've stuck with him through thick and thin? No. Is it his doting and generous parents who have given him both a lavish lifestyle and a nurturing home? No. It's some frickin' cupcakes, materialistic jackass. Casper and the Fog. There's a kid stuck in some fog. An unfriendly ghost has him trapped for some reason, but the unfriendly ghost is easily thwarted by a Twinkie. I am suddenly in favor of the Supernatural Registration Act. Aquaman in Twinkies and Kelp. Aquaman is concerned about a submarine approaching Atlantis, but the pilot just wants to introduce Twinkies to the Atlantean population. I'm thinking he's a dentist and this is his in. Josie in Josie Eats Her Words. I feel like Josie's just joined a cult. And this creepy looking dude just whispered some words to her and promised her cupcakes, and she joined a cult. Valerie, you're supposed to be the reasonable one in the group. Do something! I'm very uncomfortable with this turn of events. Archie in Here's Looking at You. Archie drops Veronica like a hot potato for a girl with golden sponge cake. Casper in Spookathon. There's a ghostly contest to see which ghost can scare the most humans. Casper would rather make people happy than scare them. Fruit pies! Richie Rich in Richie and His Robot. Richie shows off his solid gold robot, who can do anything except bring Richie's friends fruit pies, because the robot wants to eat the pies itself. I cannot think of a single instance of a high-tech invention Richie owns that doesn't in some way make his life less convenient. Possibly excluding Irona, but I'm keeping an eye on her. And I bought an issue of Sad Sack for this ad. I have no strong feelings about Sad Sack either way. Spider-Man in The Spider-Man and the Fly. Spider-Man is captured by a villain, the Fly, who looks somewhat like this the Fly, but turns out is a different the Fly. This the Fly is only capable of loving Twinkies, which is sad when you think about it. I kind of wish Archie Comics' hero, the Fly, had a Twinkies ad, but let's face it, the Mighty Comics heroes, they would be dealing with ding-dongs and ho-hos, and maybe a Suzy Q here and there. You have to have a title run past issue 50 to get that sweet, sweet Twinkie revenue. Thor in The False Immortal. Thor, where you been, buddy? In Asgard, obviously, wondering how this strange god came into power and why the Asgardians are paying fealty to him. This is a strangely deep plot for a cupcake ad. It's the kind of thing Greg Pak and Fred Van Lint would have done in Incredible Hercules. You know, if this was written today, it'd be 6 issues before Thor found out the mystery god was Loki all along. Sad Sack in Doggone It. Sad Sack's dog annoys the general, so Sad Sack takes it for a walk. The dog finds a stash of cupcakes, but uh-oh, they belong to the general. And that's how Sad Sack got a dishonorable discharge. Green Lantern and the Fruit Pie Scene. Dr. Live, which is evil spelled backwards, shrinks Green Lantern and some other people and puts them in jars. Then Green Lantern does something behind this sound effect, and everybody's normal again and have pie. Casper in Moo Boo. A cow, a sheep, and an owl decide to scare all the humans out of the forest, and Casper should just mind his own damn business because that's awesome. Why are you scaring everybody? Shut up, Casper. I know how to fight, Fright. Here's Hostess Twinkie snack cakes for everybody. Shut up, Casper. With Hostess Twinkies cake around, Fright doesn't stand a ghost of a chance. Ugh. Well, at least we get this awesome picture of a cow with a Twinkie in its mouth. Richie Rich in Stranded. Richie, Cadbury, and Gloria are stranded on an island with a bunch of varied animals who have all teamed up to eat some kids and their butler. I think we're supposed to be relieved when we find out there's a travel agent on the island, but it doesn't really alleviate the fact that the island is populated by lions, leopards, tigers, and particularly bloodthirsty gorillas. Josie and Fruit Pies in The Unveiling. For some reason, the Fruit Pies get co-billing with Josie. I guess it's only fair, it is their ad. Alexandra hires a famous sculptor to create a statue of her, but he is instead inspired to sculpt Josie eating a fruit pie in her bathing suit. That seems kind of, I don't know, she didn't pose for this. That seems kind of creepy. Does that seem creepy? I think that's creepy. Batman in The Muse. The Muse, says here, has been the accompanist for 3 rock and roll concerts where the featured solo rock stars have mysteriously disappeared. Now, it seems to me, A, if he's sucking them into his keyboard in the middle of the act, it's not precisely a mystery as to what happened to them. B, don't most singing acts have their own musicians? I mean, sure, the Temptations might be headlining, but they don't just hire some random guys off the street to play for them, right? They've got their own musicians, right? And C, don't give this guy cupcakes. He doesn't deserve cupcakes. Why do the bad guys keep getting rewarded in these things? Archie and Twinkies cakes in Chop Chop. I don't want to summarize this one. Okay, fine. Archie likes this cute girl in his karate class, but the instructor has a crush on Archie, only she's fat, see, so that makes it funny. And then she and Jughead bond over Twinkies. Richie Rich in Soft Gold. A fortune teller promises Richie soft, spongy gold, and some eavesdropping crooks who are obviously new around here don't realize she's talking about Twinkies. It's a one-page story, so they're easily dispatched, and Richie doesn't let the crooks have cake. Batman! Richie knows the deal. And that is the state of Twinkies in 1976. Hey, if I can manage to claw my way to 300 subscribers, we'll tackle the 1977 ads. In the meantime, gang, you'll get a big delight in every bite of Hostess snack cakes. Come back next time and every time, gang, for more of your favorite comic book heroes in their most thrilling adventures. This is the Public Domain Comic Book. Bought an issue of Harvey's Devil Kids starring Hot Stuff for this ad. Yeah, I like hot stuff. I like hot stuff. Wow.